Hey, everybody, welcome back to Hanging with the Hoopers podcast. Andrew Hooper going solo today. Tim is somewhere on the road. But I'm super thrilled and excited to have Michele Blanco joining us today on the podcast. Michele, you're an incredible advocate for our industry, everything you do around insurance and all the things required. And you're a very well-known person, have an amazing reputation. You're going to be sponsoring our Energize conference coming up. So all sorts of fun things happening, but thanks for joining me on the podcast today.
Of course, happy to be here. Thank you.
Where are you coming to us from today in the world?
Silver Spring, Maryland.
Right in the heart of it. Whenever I go around the Beltway, I was going up to Maryland, a few days ago, and I got to use the new express lanes.
Was it good? Was it helpful?
From Virginia into Maryland.
Yes.
Have you used those yet?
No, but I saw that they were out there. I was so excited for my return home trips.
I'm curious to see how that flows because it worked great. Like there wasn't as big of a backup across the bridge. And
Yay.
I think since I moved to Virginia, I think that's the first time that there hasn't been construction there on that 495 stretch crossing the bridge.
Amazing.
So you're right across the way there though.
So good.
I love it. So just getting in here, a fun little icebreaker. I know I already went through 2 cups of coffee this morning. So Thanksgiving last week on vacation. So now I'm just sticking with water. But what's your go-to? Are you a coffee, tea, energy drink? What's your thing?
Definitely coffee. And we buy our coffee from a gentleman that imports directly from Guatemala. So he roasts it here in Maryland. So it's a pretty good cup of coffee. Just 2 cups.
Is it a place people can go buy?
Yeah, it's actually, we get it at the Hollywood Farmers Market in College Park. Unfortunately, they've closed for the season because, it's slightly chilly. But yeah, he's there, I think, May to November every year. It's so great. Good price, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to load up on it, right? If you know they're going to be out of it.
And we do.
I had a coffee this morning that was a bourbon flavored coffee. Very interesting.
Nice.
Really good aroma in the house.
Yeah, nice.
So, but no, I love that. Good coffee right there with me. I had someone on the other day and they're like, only tea. I only drink tea. It's like, great.
I get that.
Cool. All right. So Michele, tell us a little bit about your company. Like, what's your backstory getting into the business? For I know you're very well known and everyone listening to this probably knows you very well, but for the off chance someone who doesn't know you, tell us about your background, your company, how long you've been doing it.
Sure. So I am in my 30th year of supporting the title industry. Way back in 1996, the folks I worked with developed the bond program with the state of Maryland, created the bond form, working with our agency to develop what the state of Maryland wanted. And then we expanded that to the other states. And on the other side of that, I was only doing the E&O, which wasn't really wasn't required back in the 90s, but we were listening to what people needed and we were listening to what they wanted. And they were really looking for someone who paid attention to their industry and who paid attention to what they needed and could help them in all 50 states. And so in our team back at that time, we made the decision to create a title department. So we took care of the bonds, the crime, no cyber back then, and the E&O. And we just really focused on really listening and understanding what people needed, where their pain points were, because this whole process of getting bonds in these different states and understanding E&O and the carriers, the insurance carriers that came in and said, oh, I'll write that, and then said, oh my God, claims, and left. And we had to help all of the insureds really manage a lot of complication and confusion at that time. And to me, because I heard what they said, I learned how to meet their needs, right? Mm-hmm. So if someone called and said, hey, I need an Arizona bond, I was able to fix that and figure it out because I learned with them as the bonding requirements grew more and more throughout the country. And I really prided myself and my team at the time. We were under a different agency, mergers and acquisitions.
Right. I was going to ask you about that, like how long it's been Norman Spencer versus.
That was some guys that had names as well, but then they were acquired. We've been through so many acquisitions because that's just what happens. But I was there before the final acquisition. I think it was 18 years, something along that, maybe 14. I can't remember exactly, but we in that program developed the niche market for the folks who are like, what do I do? The underwriter says I have to get this and it's not required by the state. How do I do it? And I thrived on helping people just be, get the things they didn't want to buy and not mind too much buying them.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of a necessary, you have to have it to be in business.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you said back in the day you didn't though, right? So some of the stuff was not required.
No, not the E&O was not a requirement. People got it because it made sense. But
Right.
then the industry and the state, of course, the state of Maryland still doesn't require it. The district and Virginia do, but a lot of states don't have any sort of E&O requirement at all.
Got it.
But underwriters do. That's
Yeah.
how it
Yeah.
started.
So, I mean, it makes sense because, there's so much exposure out there. And I guess from when you started till now, what's been the biggest, like, what danger has increased the most, in your opinion? I think we might all know, but
I
I'm
mean,
curious from your
it's
point.
wire fraud. It's the
Is it?
freaking
Yeah.
crooks. It's the bad
Yeah.
guys. It's so frustrating because in the beginning, before all these crooks got so smart or something like whatever that definition is for a bad guy, the claims were just kind of steady. There wasn't a lot. Back in the time when we had the downturn, we had some embezzlement. We had some things
Yeah.
that weren't great and that were kind
Yeah.
of solved. And during that time, all of us, the underwriters included, figured out how to better control and be aware of what title agencies were doing.
Hmm.
And so that kind of mostly went by the wayside. But then I feel like it's just the advent of everything got easier for all of us. We have internet, we have email, we have cell, we have all these easy things. And the bad guys are like, ooh, I can make it easy too. And they quickly came in and just started stealing money left and right and getting access to computers. The very first one we had was 400,000. And it
Wow.
was a crook who had routed it through a small, tiny bank in a different state. The next one was 500,000. And that was probably, I mean, that was the 2000. That wasn't it. It's probably 15 years. The first one came in, and it just built and built and built. And the genesis in that, the insurance companies at one point are like, "Ooh, we're out. We're not covering this," because they've lost millions and millions in claims because these types of losses were not specifically excluded from policies.
Got it.
Right. And now
Yeah.
they are mostly excluded. We've got a few little great carriers that'll say, we'll give you a small amount of protection against wire fraud if you get taken by these crooks. But the work that has had to fall on the title agency is so, so heavy because they have to verify everything. They have to document everything. They have to we hope they're using third-party vendors to help with that verification process because it's just such a scary place out there.
Have you seen anything recently with the emergence of AI over the last 2 years? Have you seen anything recently where it was very apparent that, maybe the fraudsters or the bad guys have gotten a little more sophisticated with some of the stuff they're trying to do there? I mean, I know you might not be as involved with claims as heavily, but like that's a big scary part of it with some of the deep fake video stuff that's out there now and all of that, right?
That's right. And I've seen a couple examples at some seminars where
Okay.
we saw an FBI seminar and a CISA seminar and a couple
Okay.
others. And what these folks are doing, and they've caught a couple of them, is the funny thing is when they try to do a deep fake on a facial verification, they do a selfie and they
Yeah.
can't do it because the software that people are using is too strong. So it catches that. But the most scary thing is people, when we have a title agency that is really aware of fraud and they're trying to do everything because this elder fraud, stealing property from retiring people or people who are selling their home, moving to a retirement community, and they're not as sophisticated. And so the title agent wants to be really, really careful. And they'll say, hey, let's have a video conversation. And I don't know how many people have seen the video, but they'll be in there on the Foursquare video talking with the notary, the title agent, the realtor, and the selling person. And there's this one that's gone around a lot where they ask Mrs. Jones, the elderly person, to raise her hand, and she can't because she's not real because the
Right.
AI is making people. It's just
Crazy.
it
And,
is.
and and like you said, a lot of these things, the insurance carriers over time have kind of carved out exclusions for a lot of these types of fraud. Like when you're talking to new title agents or title agents who are beefing up their coverage
Yeah.
or they're trying to figure this out, what is the most common like aha moment for a title agent that they thought like this should have been covered or this absolutely is covered and it's not anymore? Is it the wire
Well,
fraud thing or is it
it
is it
is.
okay?
Yeah, it's the wire fraud, and it's the wire fraud under their cyber policy, and it's challenging because we try to let everyone know like there's not a cyber policy that will cover wire fraud without verification. So you have to do the verification. But I'll get a call and I'll say, "Hey, Michelle, I have to make a claim under my cyber policy for wire fraud," and they don't even have a cyber policy. So it's right because not everybody buys it. But when they have the panicky loss, they're like, "Oh my God, this is what I have to have." But cyber policies really weren't designed for wire fraud. That's just a small little part of it, 100,000, 250,000. The cyber policies for other things like we had two this year. We had one ransomware and one
Hmm.
breach. And the cyber policy is designed really for those. The cyber policy is to help you if you've been breached or ransomed, you can't work, you lose money. There's coverage under there for lost income. There's a lot of really valuable things under the cyber. It's the wire fraud, it's just a small part of it.
That's a small part, but it really and I'm assuming it really only fits if they can prove that there was some level of hacking involved in the wire fraud happening, right? Like someone's email or like I'm assuming because it's cyber, there would have to be some level of proof to show that, hey, this is what happened. This email was compromised or.
Potentially. That's not
Okay.
always the case because sometimes if you can prove that you actually that you actually followed the wire instructions, because you can't necessarily know where they were breached. If they came in wrong, did it happen on the incoming? So if you're able to show that you verified, and we had a situation where someone actually didn't take the best documentation notes, but they were able to go pull the phone records and confirm that they had called the lender for those verifications. So the most important thing is that you have a really strong, how am I verifying? Am I using a third-party software? And if so, am I printing that green, red, whatever it is, PDF into my document? And if it's something that doesn't fit in the third-party verification platform, then you have to go phone call, whatever it is, and still verify those. Like Michelle talked to Joe at, whatever mortgage company this was or private equity firm this was at 3 o'clock on Tuesday. Here's a verification. Joe confirmed these wire instructions were accurate. And we had one of those as well. Joe, the guy at the other place, had already been breached, but he verified fraudulent instructions. So we had protection.
I mean, it's a wild world out there.
It
I bet. I
is.
mean, you see it all from so just kind of as a nice kind of period on talking about the insurance piece of this. If you were a title agency owner, based on your years in the industry and what you see, if there's one thing out there that you still see a lot of people not taking advantage of, that if you were an agency owner, like a title agency owner, you would absolutely be taking advantage of, and you kind of scratch your head like, why don't people do this? Would it be something in insurance? Would it be like you talk about third party providers that verify things? What's the one thing that you see a lot of people not doing that you think everyone really should be doing right now? I know that's a
Honestly,
tough off the wall
it's
question, but
it's not though, because I think everyone should buy the insurance because that's what we do. We put smoke detectors in our houses, we get homeowners insurance, but we don't expect our house to burn down.
mm,
You should get the insurance and the bonds for your business, but you should also get that smoke detector, which is the third party verification. I think that in this day and age, these platforms, I'm sure they're not infallible, but it's easier than, like, I've talked to folks that have moved on to one of these platforms and they're saving employee hours. They're not getting rid of their employees. They're just freeing up employee time so they're not dialing and trying to get information. They go through the process because they can verify identity, they can verify the wire instructions, and they can communicate securely. So to me, I know it's a cost, I know it's an expense, but I feel like these third-party platforms are really have to become part of our industry because we have to keep everyone safe. It's not just keeping your business safe, it's keeping grandma safe, keeping your mom safe, keeping the inheritance for the future generation safe. I mean, really, that's what we're talking about.
and in my brain, the better everyone does at avoiding these things, right,
Yes.
ensures the insurance carriers will also continue to offer certain coverages in the one-off cases that things happen. Because if stuff gets too rampant, insurance companies will just say, "Yep, we're going to exclude that, right? We're just not going to have those things anymore."
But that's
So
correct.
I
Absolutely.
think we ran some numbers here at FNF, and I think we came to the conclusion maybe 20 to 30% of all agents are actually using a third party kind of provider. And so there's still a massive opportunity, I think, for agency owners and teams to look at that. Not again, not as expense, but an investment in the safety and security of your business and the investment in your people
Agree.
and all the other things, right? Like there is that element of, man, if I don't have people calling and doing all these things, what are they going to do? But you'll be surprised what else you can get done when you
That's what
offload
they
some of the
said.
minutia, right?
That's what they
Like
said. The people had
exactly.
more creativity, more ability to do actual good, tangible work. Agree,
Right.
100% on
Right.
that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So good stuff. All right. Um, leadership lesson, right? So if you look through your years, what's the biggest thing you feel you've learned if you're looking at it from like a leadership perspective in this industry? Um, what's the biggest leadership lesson you've learned in your career and how you apply it every day? Because you work with leaders, that's your job every single day. You're talking to folks
Yeah,
leading organizations.
that's right. It's a really broad question. Uh,
You can take it wherever you want.
well, I mean, there's the twofold because, like you said, I do work with leaders every day, and on that one, it's listening, being available, understanding, and respecting the fact that if they're saying things that aren't nice or using bad language, it's not personal, right? They're just so frustrated, but I am that person for them that can help them through these difficult times. So it's just respecting them as a leader in what they do and taking good care of their needs, best care of their needs. And then on the other side, in the leading the department that I run, it's the opportunity to work with the team that I work with and share. I have a lot of stuff in my head. I have a lot of knowledge and a lot of it on paper too. But to be able to share and help my team also maybe not get upset because somebody said bad words on the phone because they were really mad, helping them to know, just to grow. And I think it's so important to not just be a number that people dial. I think it's important that, one of my colleagues says, well, everything is kind of crazy today. I'm like, yeah, sometimes it is, but that's okay because we're here as a resource. We're here as a person, as to get them the best products, but also the best care because so many places are just, dial and send in and all that. We actually really respect and care for our clients and really are happy to have them.
Man, the nugget that I take out of that, what you just shared, because I think it applies to both, is you're not letting external factors that are out of your control
Yeah.
dictate the level of response and professionalism that you give back to somebody, right? And you're able to empathize and say, hey, like if I had something happen where I just lost potentially $100,000 in my business, I might be using some colorful language too. So I'm
Right.
not going to take that personally. I'm not going to sit here and be like, and I've seen it through my career too. People will let the beginning of an angry conversation or where someone's a little stressed or upset dictate the entire rest of the interaction. Where if we apply a little old fashioned empathy and some grace, a little
Yeah.
bit of humility, let go of that ego a little bit,
Agree. Yep.
you can bring everything right back and have a really productive conversation. I
It's
love
so
that.
true.
That's a really, really golden nugget, Michelle, and recognizing that because you're fielding the call from the person who's like, right?
Even people who are even in a simple thing like let's say it's not a bad situation, it's just they tired of all these emails, too many quotes, the prices are too high.
Mm,
Is we listen and we receive and it's okay because it's an understanding and our folks are great. I mean, people have bad days, we all have bad days, but we're good.
yeah, I like it. It's going to be okay. We're good. Take it in stride. That's great. All right. So, Michelle, thank you for the leadership tidbits. Love learning about how things have changed. But let's pivot. In about 2 months, we have Energize coming up, and I think you've sponsored every single one we've done for the
Yeah.
last. This is our third.
Yeah.
So, what excites you about coming to Energize? What have you loved about the past ones? And why are you sponsoring again?
For sure. So I don't always get to sit in the room where the conference is taking place because I am the vendor, I have the table, but I have sat in the room. And the information that's provided to the community is so, so good. It is about how to be a great person in business. It's really, and it's not just saying, here, go knock on 10 doors and this is going to grow your business. It's here's all the things we can do together or you with our tools to basically improve who you are as a business person. And then you take that and kind of like the baseball field, although some people don't like that movie, if you build it, they will come. But I think it's true
Yeah.
because when I talk to folks at these events, at the breaks and whatnot, they say, I'm going to do that. I'm going to change that, And I just think it's so good for us as a community to keep hearing positive growth, whether it's business and or individual. It makes us all better people. That's why I'm excited to just be in that community and in that environment again.
I love it. Truly, every time I'm around the group at Energize, the leaders in our industry, from the Mid Atlantic, we have some folks even coming from out of the Mid Atlantic this year as well. But growth minded, abundant minded people, and of course, a great, amazing lineup of vendors. And so, when you are at your table, I know we're going to be doing some of the different, vendors, scavenger hunts and things for folks. But what do you love when people ask you? Like when people come up to your table, like what do you hope they ask you about? Like what conversation do you want to have with attendees at Energize?
Gosh, well, we certainly should talk a little bit about business, right? Can I help them? But some folks aren't interested. So I'd love to have a personal conversation. What books are you reading? Or because sometimes people get a little bogged down talking to all the vendors. So if they just talked to this vendor on my left, their mind is full, and I'll ask them, are you interested in insurance? And they'll be like, no. So let's talk about a book, or do you do gardening or something? Because I don't want to overwhelm people if they're not interested. Is that the kind of what you're looking for there?
Yeah,
It's
no,
just,
I like you've always been extremely relationship based ever since I've known you for the last, gosh, I don't know, 4.5, 5 years now,
yeah,
since I joined the industry. And I think that's important. Like, go connect. Like, what I would, if I could say to folks, when you go see Michele, you need to know her. She's someone you need to know, regardless if you're using her or not for her services. So
right, sure.
you're connected, people all across the insurance spaces, all across the third party provider, like wire fraud spaces. Like, you can give good recommendations. Heck, I even had a couple agents of mine that spent time with you and you just helped them dig through their existing policies and figure out what
100%.
was actually covered or not. And so if I would make the sales pitch for you, I would say you should be talking to Michele about something like that.
Yeah,
It
for
doesn't,
sure.
it never hurts to have a set of eyes on your stuff and looking through of like, hey, here's something you might want to be thinking about because this is where we're seeing some risk, right?
I
So
agree. And I
yeah,
always want to be a resource, and I will tell people, I said, listen, there's really no pressure. If you're happy with your agent, but if you're confused about a coverage or if you're confused about why you have this, I would be more than happy to be that resource because why not? If I know stuff, why wouldn't I want to share? I want to share.
yeah, I love that. And you always have. You've been wonderful. So you mentioned talking about books and gardening or things like that. What book are you reading right now? Like what are you enjoying? What podcasts, like whatever it is, how you consume your things. What are you on right now?
So it's funny. I'm actually reading two books right now, and one is book 7 of the Percy Jackson series because it's just fun, and I like it. And then the other book is Lessons in Chemistry. It is so good. It is so, so good. It's just a great, great book. So much fun. So yeah, I like just mostly, usually historical fiction, which Percy Jackson, well, I guess maybe it is, depending on the history. But that's really and I usually listen. Reading
Yeah.
is like, because I like to walk. I like to walk a lot. So I'll grab my headset
Yep.
and go.
That's great. I love it. And we retain a lot from just that audio anyway, but I like that. That's great. Something you inspire me a little bit because I tend to only ever read the business or like the professional development books. And like one of my goals, and I failed miserably at it a couple years ago, was to read a couple fiction books
Okay,
just to
yeah.
kind of, so I think it's important. But historically for me, I'm like you. I like reading that historical fiction
Yeah.
where they insert that character or something into it.
Yes.
So, but anyway, as we kind of bring this to a close, Michele, thank you. You're incredible. Thanks for jumping on with me today. We are thankful, appreciative, and thrilled to have you sponsoring Energize again. And for anyone listening, if you don't know Michele, where should folks go connect with you? Where are you at online? What's the best way for folks to connect if they don't know you?
Gosh, well, certainly on LinkedIn, of course,
Okay.
Michele Blanco. We have a website. I have my own little Norman Spencer. I have my own little spot there for the title department.
Awesome.
I don't do a ton of stuff online, but
I
I'm
like
there.
LinkedIn. LinkedIn is good. It's a
LinkedIn
good
is
place
good.
to be
That's
for
good.
sure. In the world of social media today, it's a good place to be. So,
Exactly.
no. Well, thank you for joining me, Michele. Can't wait to see you in a couple
Likewise.
months at Energize, and hope you have a lovely rest of the day.
Thank you. You too. So much
All right.
fun.